So the rules are, we gotta go on Steam, and we gotta find gold, right? If we find the gold, we shall download it and play it. See how it is, come up with a review, a slight punch. Oh my god, that game killed me. Counter snipe, what is that? Best in the West. I'm looking for kind of like simple games, like quick games, kind of like indie games, like something you can just play for a quick good time. Kyle is famous. We looked at that last time. Okay, we might add that one to the list. And then we got, let's see. Room. What the heck is this? Room. WURROOM. Room? I gotta look at that. What the heck? What the heck is this? Dude, this is interesting looking. How is this a game? Is it a game? I mean, it has to be. Dude, this looks trippy. This looks really trippy. I might have to add that to the list as well. Room. Okay. All right, so we're gonna download Kyle is Famous. We're gonna see what that's like. We're gonna see what that's about. Tries to prepare for the most important interview yet. Choose his path through 21 endings and accept the consequences in this comedic adventure. That sounds pretty good to me. Should we do Room, or is that just a little too out there?
Maybe that's a reason to play it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it anyways, just because it's so different that I have to try it. Let's play some Kyle is Famous. I gotta keep an eye on my frame rate, which I don't think this is gonna mess with my frame rate. Kyle is Famous by John Szymanski. All right, let's start. Kyle wakes up. He is famous. Good to know. Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle. Okay. Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man. What? A most excellent dumpy white man. Can I get a definition for dumpy? Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields. Okay, nice. We could all get into STEM. STEM is important. Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details. Most online videos are best of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet. Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist. Probably like Oprah. Something like that, something like Oprah. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation. Dumpy is short and thick in build. Well, I guess I'm Dumpy. Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions
wisely.
Okay, start preparing. We have 30 hours until the interview. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Wither away or exit the bed. I'm gonna say the best thing to start the day is by getting out of bed. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. Open the closet, sit at the desk, exit bedroom to hallway. Let's get dressed. Open the closet. Choose an outfit. Why is this taking him hours to do? Why did it take an hour to open the closet? Jeans and swimming goggles, skunk pasties, slick suit, or suit of armor? Bro, straight Dude, straight up crusade this day. Suit of armor. Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his suit of armor. Probably the fact that he had a suit of armor to begin with. But it felt like the right thing to do. More. Why does more cost an hour? After squeezing and sweating, Kyle managed to wrap the metal suit around his dumpy self. Back to room. That took an hour. Let's sit at the desk. And, yeah, let's write some notes for the interview. Kyle wrote down his first question. Is your mother a mother? Am I a mother? Okay, I just want to see how this ending goes. Am I a mother? Kyle wrote down his second question. What are some diet tips? Beef, mashed or blended? Ever eaten a raw egg whole? Beef, mashed or blended? Kyle wrote down his third question. Do you ever smile? I purposefully ran over a puppy. What's your funniest story? I just want this lady to be like, oh, this guy is a nut job. Kyle wrote down his last question. Do you feel guilty?
Are you guilty?
Yes. Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk. Kyle walked into the small hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Let's move to kitchen. Yes. Open fridge. Eat crust on fridge wall. Eat the fridge. Prepare breakfast. Eat condiments. Let's just eat the whole fridge. Yeah, let's just eat the fridge. I mean, that's gotta be overall the most nutritious. Kyle pointed his neck directly upwards and hoisted the fridge on top of his face. More. Somehow, miraculously, he wrapped his mouth around the device and started to swallow. In one slow, horrible movement, the fridge slid down Kyle's throat. The whole fridge. After many gurgles, pops, and snaps, Kyle felt relatively sure the fridge would not come back out. Oh my god. Let's leave the apartment now. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Let's go to the tech store. Walked into the clean, white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot with flashing lights. Steal Techno Jim or ask attendant for free samples. Can you get free samples at a tech store? Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered free samples to important customers. All right, I think I only have 3 hours left, and judging on how this game goes, I'm only gonna get one more thing done. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample. Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out. Grab with hand or grab with teeth? I'm gonna grab it with the teeth. I just ate a fridge, so this should be fun. Kyle firmly clamped his mouth around the outstretched phone, creating several teeth holes in the screen. Kyle grunted and yanked with his head until the attendant let go of the phone. The phone is now Kyle's to use forever. Wow. This guy is demented. Okay, back to the shop. Oh, now it's time for the interview. Showtime. Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. So genuine. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Yes, that's that suit of armor. Approach Rachel. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Kyle responded, scream and spin in circles. Or answer politely. Well, after eating a fridge and grabbing a free sample of a phone with my teeth, the most appropriate thing to do is scream and spin in circles. Kyle started to stretch out his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show. Oh my god, you got lucky. Start the interview. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Start the broadcast. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Introduce Rachel. Kyle vomited all the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor. Yes, wonderful. Rachel looked at Kyle, concerned, gave a couple of coughs, and decided to play it cool and keep the show running. Kyle stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. Why? Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Kyle. I'm very ready with Rachel, said Rachel with a winning smile. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier. I purposefully ran over a puppy. Am I a mother? Beef, mashed or blended, or are you guilty? I'm just gonna look her dead in the face and say,
Are you guilty?
Rachel, are you guilty? Kyle threw his question on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her. Rachel's eye twitched slightly. Guilty of what, dear Kyle? She smiled disingenuously. Guilty, spat Kyle, of your crimes! Are you guilty of your crimes? Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably. Should I just call the police? Right now? Call the police. Kyle pulled out his phone and dialed the police. Hello, police, said Kyle. I believe I have found a criminal. Rachel began to run towards the exit. On her way, she swatted Kyle's phone out of his hand. We're gonna trip her. Kyle stuck out his leg. Rachel stumbled and crashed to the floor. But in a moment, she was on her feet and drew a blunt weapon seemingly out of thin air and started to swing at Kyle. Wow, this is getting intense. Before Kyle had a chance to react, a figure burst through the roof and blocked Rachel's attack. It was a middle-aged woman in a bug-shaped mask. She was brandishing a bug-shaped stick. The woman began to fight with Rachel, flicking her weapon back and forth with surprising speed. Rachel tried to fight back, but it was obvious she was no match for the interceptor. With one quick move, the bug vigilante drew her foot high above her head and drove it straight into Rachel's hand. The weapon clattered to the floor. Rachel attempted to run again, but she was met with a stick to her legs. She fell at the feet of a police officer just arriving from Kyle's call. Rachel was charged with 7 cases of grand larceny. After her first month in jail, Rachel started a reality TV show filmed in her cell about prison cooking. The show gained immense popularity, and somehow the public began to love Rachel all the more. Kyle made guest appearances on Rachel's show many times. What? The identity of the bug vigilante was never known. She remained a mysterious but important part of local law enforcement. The end. Rachel started a new show. All right. Let's try that again. Ooh, we have a new thing now. I'm gonna go with Wither Away because Richard wanted that the first time. Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died. Kyle withered successfully and died. Shucks. Kyle is now a ghost. Right, let's get out of bed anyway. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around the room. Let's scavenge. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for bugs. His immediate need for bugs. Kyle started to pick between the fuzz of his bedroom carpet, hoping to catch a stray beetle or two. You got beetles in your room? Yeah, you need to do some spring cleaning. Soon he had a small handful of various insects, dead and alive, saved for later use. Kyle stashed the wriggling mass for later use back to the bedroom. Kyle returned to the center of the bedroom. Opened the closet. It was dark and he could only really see his hanging shirts. Choose an outfit. Let's do skunk pasties this time. Kyle chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh. Ew, why is this guy so gross? Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue. This guy's a legend. We're gonna leave the apartment. We're gonna visit the downstairs neighbor. Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door. She looked at Kyle expectantly. Greet and start conversation. Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly. Ask Gabby about Rachel. Ask Gabby about Gabby. Let's talk about you. Tell me about yourself. Gabby? Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay right here. Gabby glared at Kyle. Convinced by Gabby's statement, Kyle bid her goodbye and returned to the street. That was strange. It made me uncomfortable a little bit. Let's visit the tech store again. We're gonna let's steal Techno Jim. Quickly, before the attendant could acknowledge him, Kyle grabbed Techno Jim by the shoulders. Finding that Techno Jim's cardboard feet were bolted to the ground, Kyle started to pull upwards forcefully. After several tugs, Techno Jim broke free, leaving one foot and one leg behind. Kyle glanced at the attendant, who was staring bewildered, and ran outside. Continue with day. Yeah, we only have 1 hour left, so let's just go back to the apartment. Kyle hurried to the set. Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost before he arrived.
What?
Per normal, he ceased to be a ghost. Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. I will never be able to read that word. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Approach Rachel. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Let's interview Techno Jim instead. Kyle roughly shoved Rachel out of her seat and placed Techno Jim in her stead. Hello, Techno Jim, said Kyle. I'm going to interview you today. Kyle grasped Techno Jim's hand and tried to shake it, but instead tore it off the cardboard frame. As you do. Kyle's producer, sensing viral media, pulled the bewildered Rachel out of frame and motioned to the crew to go live. Cameramen moved, lights flashed, and suddenly the studio was on air. Hi, I'm Kyle, said Kyle. And tonight, I'm going to interview a very special guest. He pointed at Techno Jim using the dismembered arm. Techno Jim started to smoke from the heat of the lights. Would you like to introduce yourself? Asked Kyle. Knowing Jim would probably not speak, Kyle took it upon himself to be his voice as well. Hi, Kyle, he said, raising the pitch of his voice. My name is Rachel May, and I'm a very special guest. Rachel's expression of confusion turned to shock. Well, Rachel, you look way too thin and absolutely terrible. You should feel ugly. Kyle gave Jim a meaningful stare. Wow, Kyle, he said. I sure wish I could look like you. Techno Jim burst into flames. Instantaneously, the sprinkler system initiated. Curtains of water poured down from the rafters. Within seconds, the production equipment was doused in water. The set was soon aburst with electrical fires. Kyle's crew abandoned their posts as cameramen and sound mixers to try to put out the English, Jordan.
Do you speak it?
Kyle's crew abandoned their posts as cameramen and sound mixers to try to put the fires out. As the crew scrambled around, the cameras continued to run. Kyle sat motionless, staring forward. That's like the last scene in Joker. Eventually, the fires were all put out. Kyle's producers shut off the broadcast, leaving Kyle's vacant stare as the final frame. Kyle's ratings skyrocketed. Techno Jim became a staple on the show, often ending up destroyed by the end of each episode. Although Rachel did not come back on the show, her cardboard portrayal did. Rachel was very popular. The end. Kyle interviewed Rachel. Okay, all right. Let's do one more. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. You say do a normal one? I am not the person to ask about normal. I don't know what normal is. So, first decision. Exit the bed or browse social media. All right, let's exit the bed. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his bedroom. I think I did see a slick suit in there. So let's put on, choose an outfit. Slick suit, we can try that. Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks. Hi, let's sit at the desk. Write notes for the interview. First question, are you a mother? What are some diet tips? What's your funniest story? What's your guilty pleasure? Okay, these are normal questions. Check in the desk drawer, maybe? See what's in here? Kyle opened up his side drawer on his desk and grabbed one of the items stored in there. Small key. I don't know what the key does. Back to room. Oh, maybe there's a locked door. Check locked door. Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside. Back to hallway. Doesn't matter. Move to kitchen. Open fridge. Prepare breakfast. Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage. That sounds delicious. Eat that. Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite. He felt refreshed. Returned to the kitchen. Check pantry? Oh. Found it was locked with a small keyhole. Unlocked with small key. The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened. In pantry. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amounts of bottled lard. Ignore the pantry. Return to the hallway. Every click takes an hour. So, all right, let's just leave the apartment. Return to apartment. Okay, now we're in showtime. Kyle hurried to the set. This one hopefully goes well, like a normal interview. Sitting across from his host's chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. Good evening, Kyle, she said, looking him in the eyes. I've been looking forward to being here. Answer politely. And I as well, Rachel. Answering, Kyle extended his hand, greeting. You are a most welcome guest. Shake hands. After another mild exchange of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and cameras clicked on. Start the broadcast. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle, looking at the camera. Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle. Introduce Rachel. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction. Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle, she said. I'm glad to be here. Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in, said Kyle. I'm very ready, said Rachel with a winning smile. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier. Are you a mother? Rachel, I and many others would love to know. Are you a mother? Kyle looked up from his notes. Well, being a single woman with a career, she answered, that's not something that had crossed my mind. Okay, all right. Rachel smiled genuinely at Kyle. More. Very reasonable indeed, said Kyle. He referenced his paper of questions. I'll ask another. What are some diet tips? Rachel, you managed to keep such a thin and healthy figure. What is your best diet tip? Well, a good diet starts with a plan, answered Rachel. And don't break it. Cheat days can turn into a habit. Boy, I know. But, she continued, that doesn't mean a midnight snack here and there isn't allowed, she smiled. Kyle looked at his flabby self, decided not to comment, and moved on. Hey, we've been there. What's your funniest story? You've been involved in a lot of different things, said Kyle. But what's your funniest story? Well, that's a great question, Kyle. I think the story I always remember is the first time I tried to make dinner for my family. In the soup I made, I swapped out the water with milk and tipped the whole jar of salt in the pot. While my family was sick from trying to eat it, I swiped their things and locked myself in my room. Rachel laughed elegantly. Kyle decided to move on.
What is your guilty pleasure?
We all have one. What's your guilty pleasure? Ooh, well that's an easy answer, said Rachel. Dipping pickles in chocolate sauce. If you're not a mother, you about to be. Because that's like a straight up pregnant woman thing, I heard. Chocolate and pickle, that combination. It might sound strange, but it's tangy and sweet at the same time. I eat it far too often, Rachel smiled sweetly. After reading his final question, Kyle looked up from his paper. Well, Rachel, he said, I think that's all I was planning on asking you. If that's the case, Kyle, may I ask you something in return? Asked Rachel, smiling one more time. Do you prepare for your interviews in advance? Because you seem very together. Before Kyle could answer, the camera shut down. The broadcast was over. Kyle returned home knowing the interview had gone well. But as he lay in bed and drifted to sleep, he felt that perhaps something was still missing. Like what? Very well. We got the very well. We did a good interview. We are professional and put together and well prepared, and we did it right. Yes, life lessons all around. Return to main menu. Yes, we found three of the various endings. Maybe we'll continue it on another stream.